So one of the things that struck me about your story and passing that test and all that, one of the things that we see in our education system today is always this segregation of students that are disabled or have learning disabilities go over here, and they separate them from this general population. And then even in the general population, you have your student, you have the ones that probably aren't going to college and the ones that might go to college and the ones that are definitely going to college. And was that difficult when you went from being in the disability classroom to kind of with the general population, and was there a big transition? Was that difficult for you to deal with, and do you think that works, separating students?
Well, it was never difficult for me, truthfully, because firstly, I have a big family and they're very funny, and it's Liverpool, and they don't take any prisoners, and they were not sentimental around me or indulgent. I mean, they were very smart around that, really. They didn't kind of wrap me in cotton wool or anything. So, and I used to go out and play out in the streets with them and do all that stuff, and so that helped. And also, naturally, honestly, I wasn't inclined to pay much attention to it. I never have been, really, and that's just a matter of disposition. I've never felt it as a defining factor, and it's never stopped me doing anything I want to do. I mean, I never did have in mind becoming a downhill skier, so it's not been something that's got in my way. Mind you, if I had wanted to do it, there are plenty of people, who are much more struggling with much worse disabilities than me who do downhill skiing, so there's no reason for anything like this to really stop you doing what you want to do. And I don't think that it really it was a difficult transition. I mean, I enjoyed although I rail against it, against the prescription for everybody. I always liked doing academic work at school, but I could just see it wasn't for everybody. There are other people who absolutely love doing other things that I didn't quite care for, and so to me, it's a human rights issue. It's about entitlement and the proper ethical treatment of people. And if you subject people to a single one-size-fits-all measure of intelligence, then it's inevitably going to happen that some people end up thinking they're not very smart when they are. And also, if you put people through a system of education that's essentially passive physically, and it mainly consists of absorbing information rather than thinking for themselves, then it starts to become stultifying. And a lot of people are stultified by it. And actually nowadays, more and more kids are being diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, which I'm very suspicious about. I mean, I don't mean there's no such thing. I just don't believe it's an epidemic in the way it's described. I mean, whatever else it is, we know that diagnoses of attention deficit disorder are based on often very brief examinations, and there's a large element of subjective judgment involved in it. It's not like malaria, where you have a blood test and you say, well, there it is, you've got it. Absolutely, you've got ADHD, it's right there in the sample. It's a set of attitudes and dispositions, and some people claim to be suffering from it and to have been helped by drugs, but an awful lot of people are just bored, and they're kids, they're sitting around in classrooms being stultified. And I mean, I was talking to somebody recently, they've come up with an idea for a chair that, that'll go up and down, and so with a desk attached to the side of it, so kids don't have to sit in it, they can get up and move around the chair. And I said, why don't you just get rid of the chair?
Yeah.
Get up and run around, bring playtime back. I mean, it seems to me it's a classic example of misdiagnosing the problem and then scratching your head that you haven't solved it. So, but my experience of it was that, and has been since, that everybody has special needs of one sort or another. It's just in some cases it may seem obvious what theirs is, and you actually may be wrong about what you think it is. But if you see somebody with impaired sight or a mobility problem, you may think, well, there's that problem right there, but it may not be bothering them at all. It may be something else. They may be completely messed up psychologically about something that happened some other point in their life. That had nothing to do with it. And and it amazes me. I meet people who are physically beautiful. You can imagine how many of these people I meet, Adam, in regular course of the day. And besieged, actually, it's becoming a problem all by itself. But no, but you meet people who are, who are in the movies, or they're in modeling or whatever. People who are physically very attractive, who are completely hung up about the shape of their nose or their earlobes or something. They're going around fretting about some aspect of their appearance that they think other people are finding grotesque, and you think, really, is there not something else to worry? And I'm just saying that I haven't met anybody yet who hasn't got some set of internal demons they're trying to figure out, or some challenge they're trying to cope with, or something in their circumstances that's creating a problem for them, or some set of ambitions they're trying to pursue, or maybe frustrated by. Whatever it is, being alive is a turbulent business for everybody, and we've all got special needs of some sort. It's just that